This is exactly how you should be using filters and dashboards in Jira. Jumping in here, I'm going to go over the filters first since we could later apply those to dashboards. So I'll click the filters dropdown on the top of my screen and I'll be presented with two options. The first one is to view all the filters and the second one is to view all issues. I'll go into view all issues and configure that first since that could be later saved as a filter. So we're going to be presented with a few filtered options at the top here, and I'll clear everything out just so we have everything presented to us. And you can see that there's a lot of issues here because it's pulling in from every project within Jira and pulling in every single issue within your Jira environment. And to start filtering down, all we need to do is click the drop downs and start selecting the filters that we'd like to apply. So I want to see issues only from the customer intake project, maybe assigned to a very specific person or reported to a specific person or by a specific person. And if I don't see the field or the filter that I actually need here, all I need to do is click the More button and then search for any field, system, or custom field within Jira, and then we could apply a filter to that search. I'll keep things pretty basic here and just leave project equals customer intake. And one thing to note, if you're ever looking for a particular issue within Jira, this is also a great place to do that since you have a lot of flexibility within the actual filters themselves. And one other thing to note is the JQL. If you're not familiar with JQL, it's a Jira query language, and it's pretty much the best way, the gold standard to search for all of your issues within Jira. I definitely recommend looking into this if you're curious about how it works, and if you wanted to play around with JQL, you're typically going to have a lot more capabilities within that search versus just the basic search. So we have our search here, and let's say that I'm done filtering down. I have 25 issues in this filter, and I want to save this filter. There's going to be a button here to save it. I'll give it a quick name, and let's say I'll just call it customer filter. And then I could add a description as well as set the viewers and editors of this filter. So viewers, let's say I want to show it to my entire organization. So I'll select that, click add, and then editors, I'll leave this as private for just myself, but I could also select specific users, groups, or project. I'll go ahead and save that. And now I have a saved filter. And if I go to my filters and click on view all filters, I now have this list of filters, and the one that is starred is the one that I just created. So I'm the owner of this filter, my viewers are the organization, and the editors are private. And if I jump into here, it's going to pull up my exact search that we had created earlier. So a couple of cool things that we could do with these filters, one of which is applying it to dashboards, which I'll show in a little bit. Another really great thing is to share this filter. So if you have a very specific list of issues that you'd like to share, this is a great way to do it. My outgoing mail is not configured, so I can't do it here. But we could also export this list of issues if you ever wanted to into a CSV, for example. And this could give you every single field associated with that particular issue or list of issues. So this is a great way to export all of your data from a very specific list. We could also share this data and even set up reports based on these filters to auto send automatically to individuals. So let's say that I wanted to share all of my tickets that came in into our customer intake from last week and automatically email that to a supervisor or a manager. I can easily do that within this filters view. So very simple here. The whole point of this filter section is to essentially narrow down a search, a very specific search of issues that you're looking for, and then apply that in other places across Jira. One of which is the dashboards. So if I go to the dashboards, I'll go to view all dashboards just to show you what the list of dashboards looks like. And in here, I'll have a couple of already created out-of-box dashboards by a couple of people. Then there's a default, which is a great showcase of what the actual dashboard widgets can do. So you can see that there's pie charts, there's lists. These are also similar to the filters themselves. There's calendars, there's bar charts, and a lot of other great stuff in here that could be used for reporting. So one of the primary things that dashboards are used for is reporting. A lot of times end users or Jira agents will end up using dashboards to work out of. So you might have a list of most urgent items or most urgent requests coming in. If they're across multiple projects, this is a great way to consolidate them as well. So in order to create a dashboard, we'll go to our dashboards tab, and then we'll just create a new one here. I'll give this a name, customer dashboard, keeping things simple. And the viewers I'll set to my organization once again, same as my filter. And then editors, I'll keep it private, same as my filter. So in here, I've created a new dashboard, which is currently blank and has nothing in it. So I could go ahead and start adding new gadgets. So I could search for a pie chart. I could add that in. I could search for a bar chart and add that in. This one's going to be specifically for resolution time, so maybe that's what I want. So I'll go ahead and add that. And I'll go ahead and throw this one over to the right side and have one on the left side. And you can see here at the very top, we already have a filtered option here. So I could pull up the filter that I recently created, and I could search for that name here, customer filter. That's exactly what I want. I could also use a project here, but if I wanted a little bit more of a narrow search with maybe specific assignees or field types or labels, request types, I could narrow that down with the filter and then apply that here. So we have the customer filter applied, and the assignee is going to be the type of statistic that we're displaying. I'll go ahead and save this pie chart. And now we have unassigned as 100%. So once this starts to change, you'll see this pie chart start to change. So if assignees start changing over time, this pie chart will change over time as well. And if you wanted a specific history of the tickets, so let's say I only wanted this dashboard to apply to a rolling 30 days. So let's say up until January 7th, which is today, I want 30 days previously to be reported on. I could do that within the filter. So I would go to issues created within the last 25 days within that filtered search, and then I would apply that to this dashboard widget. Very similar with the resolution time. So I'll go ahead and select customer intake as the filter. Period, I could set daily, but let's say I want maybe weekly here instead. And previous days, so we're gonna have 30, which is gonna be roughly 1 month. I'll go ahead and save that. And we have nothing here because there's nothing resolved, but if we did, we would have some relevant data showing up in this widget. So that's as simple as that. Once we have our dashboard ready, I'll go ahead and hit done. And this is gonna be our live view of the dashboard. We could hover over these items and drill into the data view in the issue navigator, which brings you over to a filtered view, which drills into the data, and you could dive into individual issue types if you wanted to here and find out more information on them individually. I'll go back to my dashboard. There's also a couple of really great share options that we have here within our dashboards. So if I go to the 3 dots on the top right, I could rename or share. If I click that, we have this same menu pop up as when we were creating the dashboard. And in here we have the viewers, which we went over previously, and we could change those viewers and we could change the editors as well. So going into my list of dashboards, I'll click on view all dashboards. There's going to be a default dashboard here that I could share, and I'll use that as an example. I'll share this dashboard, and there's a couple of options we have here with either my organization or public. And this option has been disabled, but I'll show you exactly how to enable it. And this is a great way to share with end users, clients, managers, anyone who doesn't have native access to Jira, because they will need to log in and have a license within JSM or Jira to be able to view those dashboards. So to get around that and activate this public dashboard sharing, I'll go to my settings on the top right. I'll click on System, and inside of the general configuration, I'll edit the settings. And in here, there's going to be a setting to allow public sharing, and I will toggle that on. And from there, I'll just go ahead and update it. Now that we have that toggled on, I'll go back to my dashboards, and I'll go back to my default dashboard and try resharing that. And now it's available, and I could update it. Anyone on the internet can view this dashboard with no sign-in required. I could go ahead and save that, copy over the link, and send that to anyone that I'd like. So that's how we create and share those dashboards and apply the filters to those dashboards. There are sometimes filters and dashboards that are created that we don't have access to. So if I open up a couple of filters here and I'll view that list, I'll look at something that might be private. So there's a few here that are created that I could look at. Let's say there's one by Usama that I don't have access to. So if I wanted to jump into this filter, I do have access to it, but I don't have the ability to update or change anything about this filter. So I'll go back, and in this case, if I'm an admin in Jira, all I have to do is change the owner, and then I could change the editors, and then I could change the owner back if needed. So I'll click on the 3 dots on the right side and change the owner to myself. Once the owner is changed, all right, filter for CI, I'll go ahead and edit this filter, and I'll change the editors to specific users, and I'll add back Usama and myself. That way we both have the ability to edit this particular filter no matter who the owner is, and if it's private or not, we'll still both have that access. Okay, now we both have the ability to edit this filter. You could also apply this to a group if you have a very common group of individuals who needs to edit these filters or dashboards, and then just apply that group instead. And I'll go ahead and change the owner again and move it back to Usama. And it's as simple as that to be able to jump in and reshare a dashboard, make sure that the correct people have edit permissions to that dashboard. Sometimes dashboard or filters are created by the individuals that create a software board or software project, since every board has to have a filter associated with it. So they may even be creating these by accident with specific editing permissions that you may not have access to. So that's the easiest way to jump in, change the owner, change the editing permissions, and change it back. Now I could jump in and make changes to this particular filter. So let's say I could pull up customer intake and marketing content. And then once I have my modified filter and everything looks good, I'll click save changes, or save as copy. I'll go ahead and save the changes to update the current filter, and that's good to go. There's one more thing that I'd like to share with dashboards. So I'll go back to my customer dashboard, which I recently created, and I'll go ahead and go into edit mode. And I wanted to show a plugin that I commonly use and that we commonly use with our clients for reporting. The reason that we use a third-party and external plugin is because the functionality of reporting for dashboards in Jira is relatively limited. So there are some things that we can do, but there's a lot of limitations that this plugin essentially helps us work around. And this plugin is called Custom Charts, and it's Custom Charts here. So I've already installed this plugin, and all I need to do is add it. So I'll go ahead and add this plugin to my dashboard. And in here, once it loads, I'll go ahead and enter the maximize mode. That way I have a little bit more room to edit this particular widget on the dashboard. And once this editor loads, you'll see that we have a lot more options for reporting in terms of visualization, as well as the sources and the charting by abilities. So we could name the dashboard here at the top, and I'll go ahead and select the chart type that I'd like. Let's say I want a 2D line chart. I'll use that. I'll select a source, which might just be a project in this case, to keep things simple. Once I select that source, I could search through all of the issues within that project, which it found 25. Perfect. And now it's searching, or it's asking for a charting by, a group by, and a calculate if need as well. So this is where the real magic comes in, because with this plugin, we could pretty much use any field, custom field, system field within Jira to be able to report on and visualize that data. So let's say I want to chart by created dates. I'll do created, and then I want to group by assignee. So now we have the exact way that we'd like to chart by, and group by looks like we have no data here, and we're counting total issues. So let me see if I could find a better example here. Created by, and let's say priority. So once I have the chart by and group by set, you'll see that all my data is visualized here in the live preview. And I could go in and change the way that this data is represented, whether that be a bar chart, a stacked bar chart, a pie chart, a 2D table, tile chart. There's a lot of different options and a lot of really great templates as well. And then we also have the ability to drill into specific data, be able to report on a specific date range. So maybe I only want the past 7 days instead of past 30 days. And then looks like we have no data there. We could select the grouping by, we can hide or show 0 counts on the chart. We could go into the group by and we could hide specific values. We could go into the settings and do quite a bit with the way that we're representing this data and showing the dashboards. This comes in really, really handy, especially for reporting and for stakeholders and managers that are running projects and want to see data in a very visualized, easy, and quick way. So again, and this is a tool that we use with almost every single client that wants more advanced reporting than what's available with Jira out of box. This is not a sponsored video or anything. This is just a very powerful plugin tool that is very easy to set up and has quite a bit of capability to do all the reporting that's needed with very little setup time. And hopefully that helps you utilize your filters and dashboards more effectively. If you need any help setting up any kind of dashboards, filters, or really anything in Jira or your Atlassian environments, feel free to reach out to us directly at grid.io. There's going to be a link down in the description if you wanted to book a consultation with us directly. We'd love to work with you and help you through any challenges you might be having. And if you're interested in how to set up custom fields effectively, feel free to click on the card somewhere up on the screen here to watch that video.